Good evening, Beruchim Havaim Rabotai. Gmar Chatima Tova, תזכו לשנים רבות, נעימות וטובות. Erev Yom Kippurim, Yom HaKadosh. There are a few opinions in the poskim, it's a very big minority opinion, but there are some opinions that the mitzvah of Achila in Erev Kippur begins already at night. Not only tomorrow, it begins at night. Therefore, those of you who are having supper now, mitzvot tzechot kavanah, have in mind that you're doing a mitzvah, according to those poskim, mitzvah d'oraita, of eating on Erev Yom Kippurim, which there's big inyanim in this thing, besides, of course, the inyan is the mitzvah. Behind the mitzvah, there's great inyanim that are directly linked to the fast of Yom Kippur. They have a connection. It's not a coincidence that there's a mitzvah to eat Erev Kippur and a mitzvah to fast on Kippur. It's actually one big connection. I have the zchut to be coming tonight from Eretz Israel. I came from JFK to the shiur. And to be a Aseret Yimei Teshuvah in Eretz Israel, I must tell you, is a very uplifting experience on many fronts. And I think to me, one of the greatest fronts that was an uplifting experience on is to see Lo Alman Yisrael. Am Yisrael is not a widowed nation, is not bankrupt. To see tens and tens of thousands of people literally going every night to the Kotel HaMa'aravi to say Slichot, in all colors, shapes, forms, and sizes, in all types of attire, from black hats to black ponytails, from tzitziot to earrings, from machzorim to tattoos, and all going for the same reason, to get closer to Hashem. Mi ke'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. There's no other nation in the world that's like this. It's an unbelievable thing. Ashreinu matov chalkeinu. And not only to the Kotel HaMa'aravi. I had the zchut on Tuesday night to be in Marat HaMachpelah at 12 o'clock at night. There was over 40,000 people there. Marat HaMachpelah, I'm sure some of you know, is not in the safest neighborhood, to put it mildly. Our cousins, Bnei Yishmael, Yimach Shemam V'Shem Zichram, they don't like us so much. And Am Yisrael goes, B'hamonehem, in the thousands and in the tens of thousands, with their leaders, with their chachamim, with their rabbis, and they go to pray. As the Midrash says, this is a Midrash that's not so known actually, I'm wondering why. The Midrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a solution to Am Yisrael, Banai, my children, Haskiru lefanai zchut avot, constantly mention in front of me the merits of the Avot HaKadoshim, V'ani mezakeh etchem badin, and in that merit I'm going to let you go through the Yamim Noraim in a happy way. It's a midrash, not a sgula book, not a story, a black and white midrash. And this is Am Yisrael. Banai askiu fanai zchut avot. What's the greatest zchut avot? And to actually go to Marat HaMachpelah and to see thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews coming from Siyut Nefesh to say slichot, or to pray, or to say Tehillim, or to learn Torah. There were many drashot there that day as well. It's a big zchut that Am Yisrael has. Ashreinu matov chalkeinu that we're part of such a thing. But I want to go back to before I made it to Marat HaMachpelah and tell you an interesting incident. I got a great shiur musar, unbelievable shiur musar. I'm a 71-year-old Israeli cab driver who told me that since his bar mitzvah he didn't put on tefillin. He's not a bad guy, he just forgot. And now he remembers. Unbelievable. I have a daughter, God should watch over. She's in Israel, studying over there. And of course, Daddy comes to Israel, he goes to see his daughter, right? Now, to sit and say Yimei Teshuvah and just talk about nothing, that's not good for her, and it's not good for me, and it's not good for Am Yisrael. It's not good for anybody. Nothing good's going to come out of that. So when I said, listen, let's go to Kever Acher. Let's go to Kever Acher. So we went to Kever Acher. So to get there was very easy. We stopped the cab, we told him Kever Acher, no problem, 70 shekel, he took us. Shah Tova. We didn't think further, but we were a little bit naive. How are we getting out of there? That we didn't think about. So we went, we prayed. Also thousands of people there. Thousands, literally thousands of people. And it's a smart, as nice as they built the building now, it doesn't hold that many people. They have to be outside. The whole parking lot, everything's full of people. Shem Yisrael. Children, when they need something, they go to their mother, right? Mommy, I need this. Mommy, I need that. Am Yisrael needs something, they go to their mother, to Kever Rachel. So we prayed a little bit, we said some Tehillim, we prayed Avid, Mincha, Avid, I think. And we left. I said, we're going to go outside, we'll get a cab, but just like I said that, there were hundreds of others that said the same idea. And the cabs don't even want to come in, forget about go out because of the traffic mess that's over there. So after 10-15 minutes realizing there's no cab and no bus available, it's a kaparat avonot. We'll walk out of this area and we'll get a cab somewhere else. Now this is Beit Lechem. And this was the morning that there was a terrible terrorist attack. Hashem yinkom damam of those people. Some Isav Soneli Yaakov is the halacha. We think it's an exaggeration. If we needed to know how it's not an exaggeration, we learned it this week once again. We should never have to learn this lesson again. This guy who, thank God, is dead, so at least we know he won't kill anybody else anymore. He worked by Jews for years in Jewish houses. People viewed him as their best friend. He was like the nicest guy around. And then one morning, his true colors came out, like Chazal say, Sav Sonel Yaakov. And he went and he killed the people that let him in to work. Meaning the soldiers that give him the okay, that approve his pass to come into work. Those were the guys he killed. He stabbed his own people in the back. No nothing. So later, 3 people died. Besides for him. Him, I don't know, he's not a person. But three people, humans died. And it's that night, it's a little tense, but there's no choice, we have to get out of there. So we start walking in the fortress over there by Kever Rachel towards the entrance, hoping that when we get to the booth of the soldiers in the front, they'll be a little more creative and help us out and give us an idea how to get out of there. But we get close to where the soldiers were in the front, and some Jewish guy, a Kolel guy, coming out with a car, stops, and he unrolls his window. He didn't even have automatic windows. It was a car, from the good old days. He bends over, he rolls his window down, and he says, Yehudim lan, where are you going to? I told him we're going anywhere. We just want to get out of here. We need to get a place where we can get a taxi. He says, I'm going to Beitar. You want to come to Beitar? I said, I'll tell you the truth. Beitar, we have nothing going on in Beitar. But if you get us out of here, that's also good. He said, come in. So we went into the car. He took us, I don't know how long, not so long. He dropped us off at some spot. And he said, over here you should have an easy time finding a cab. Hashem has a sense of humor. There's no cab there either. So then we realized we're going to start walking a little more. And my daughter is not exactly the brave type when it comes to Bnei Ishmael. And every time one of those walked by, she says, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. I said, don't worry about these idiots. Hashem watches over us. We're going to walk. Okay. At a certain point, I guess, from the other side of the street, it's a very wide street, a few lanes each way, 3 or 4 lanes each way, some cab driver saw us. I had my hand out. He made a U-turn and came to pick us up. He later on told me he's 71 years old. Nice guy. You see a nesiyut chin on his face. What a beautiful face. Shining, smiling. He tells me, where are you from? So I told him, my heart is from Eretz Yisrael. My body, though I lay in most of the years in Chutz La'aretz, in America. Okay, he liked the line. And he tells me, what brings you here? I said, my daughter learns here, and I said, to make tshuva. Combination of both reasons. It was a good idea to come in. Like this, we're chit-chatting as he's driving me to my next destination. And I told him, I said, listen, Hashem didn't give me a cab easily. He said, I called cab companies to order a cab. Nobody wanted to come to Kever Rachel to pick us up. I had a guy drive me out to that place where he said, I'll find a cab in 1 second. Nothing doing there either. If it had to take so long and so much walking and so much effort to get into your cab, obviously Hashem wanted this for a reason. You must be a big tzaddik. Give me a blessing. So the guy tells me, listen, I don't know who you are. I'm not a tzaddik. He says, I don't keep, I don't that. You're making a mistake. So a blessing I can't give you. But if you want a good story, I can give you a good story. So I said, I'll tell you the truth, I'm in the business of stories. Help me out. Yeah, what do you got for me? He says, let me tell you what happened on Friday. I said, Friday? Friday was Rosh Hashanah. He says, no, chas v'shalom, I don't work on Rosh Hashanah. The Friday before. I said, okay, what happened? He says, I was working. He says, I don't drive on Shabbat. Ashraf, he doesn't drive on Shabbat. But I work Friday till about an hour before Shabbat, then I go home. Then he added in, I don't keep Shabbat, but drive on Shabbat I don't do. I said, Baruch Hashem, you don't drive on Shabbat and you don't keep Shabbat yet. He says he drove an older woman from one place, wherever she called from, to what she told him in the car was her son's house. She had a suitcase, it was in the trunk, and he brings it to the son's house, and the lady was under pressure for Shabbat, a religious lady, and he drops her off, and he said he forgot she put a suitcase in the trunk, and when she went out of the car, she also forgot she put a suitcase in the trunk. And he left, and the lady left, and he says, I drove all the way home, 20 minutes from where I dropped her off. He says, by now we're 40 minutes before candle lighting, and I come to my house, and I open the trunk to take out something that I had in the trunk, and I see her suitcase. And I feel so bad now. I say, Bon Kol Alamim, poor lady, Shabbat, her clothes, who knows, she went to her son's house, everything's gone. That's it. I don't know who she is, I don't have her number, she doesn't know who I am, how's she going to access me? If she would have known what cab she called, they would have radioed it already if anybody had a suitcase. Nothing doing. I said, what am I going to do now? So I decided I got to help her out. So I said, I thought I had to think of an idea. So I said, okay, this sounds interesting. What do you think of? What do you do? So he tells me, let me tell you what I did. He says, I remembered the address of where I dropped her off. I said, I'm going to go back there to the building. And I'm going to try and find her. So I got into the car, I turned around, I raced back, and he says, now I got to get home before Shabbat. I'm on, like, every minute counts. So I drove quickly back to the building, I got to the building. He says, to my luck, I saw a few people outside the building. And I asked him, I said, I'm trying to find somebody here, whatever. Where's the entrance? I'll knock on a few apartments, maybe I'll figure out who it is. So he says, one of the kids that was there started laughing at me. And the kid tells me, these buildings, it's a complex, they all have the same address, and there's 4 entrances with 20-something apartments in each building. He said, what am I going to do, knock on 90 apartments now and 4 entrances? I'm never going to make it back home for Shabbat. I don't drive on Shabbat. So I told him, so what do you do? And then he told me words that to me was a Musad class like I never got in my life. He said, Kshe'ein brera, when you have no choice, motzim pitaron. You have to find a solution. You don't give up. You find a solution. I said, okay. So ma pitaron, what was the solution that you found? They said, I went into the middle area of the 4 buildings. I started shrieking on the top of my lungs. Who lost the suitcase? Who forgot a suitcase in a cab? He said, not even a minute later, a guy comes downstairs together with his mother, and I recognized the lady, and she said, thank you so much. I already gave up on my stuff. I didn't know I would get it. And he's telling me this, and I have tears coming down my eyes. I told him, Tzaddik, a bracha, you saved my life just now. You gave me the biggest chizuk I could have got before Yom Kippur. I said, I was by Kever Achel, and I was thinking to myself, what's going to be? We're coming to Yom Kippur, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati. And I want to tell you what goes on in Shemayim every year again. Chatati, I know. Aviti, I watched it. Pashati, I watched that too. Slach lanu, why? You told me the same story last year. I'm going to be better. I don't believe you. The proof is in the making. Look at 2017. It was no different than the year before that. So this happens every year again. And it don't work. And we're in trouble. And there's a tough situation. And I said, I was standing by Kever Achel, and I want to tell you something, my dear friend, the cab driver. I davened to Hashem, I said, Ribon Kol Alamim, give me an eitzah. Help me out, give me a piece of advice. What am I supposed to do? How do I walk into shul on the night of Yom Kippur? I'm embarrassed to walk in, I don't want to walk in. Give me a piece of advice what to do. And Hashem said, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. You're not going to have a cab, and no cab company is going to be willing to pick you up. And you're going to do a crazy thing, which in retrospect maybe Al Pi Halacha wasn't even right. You're going to walk through an Arab neighborhood hoping that you'll find the cab somewhere. And you're going to get a 71-year-old tzaddik who you're going to ask a bracha from. And instead he's going to tell you a story. And he's going to give you an eitzah, Kshe'en brera, when it's the night before Yom Kippur and you realize you have no choice. Motzim pitaron, you better find the solution. And you know what the solution is? I go between the giants of the world. I go into the synagogue in front of the Sefer Torah. I go in front of the Machzor and the Sidur, and I scream and I say, I lost my neshama this year. Got lost in everything that went on. Ribono Shel Olam, help me find it. I need my stuff back. I need my life back. I need my soul back. I need to be able to have a year this year. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes running down. He says, my child, I was looking for you a whole year. Here, take your suitcase back. Take it back. I said, Tzaddik, you I owe a big hakarat tov to. And the gentleman looked back to me and told me, maybe I'll start keeping Shabbat. And we parted ways because we arrived to our destination. Rabotai is the story. Night before Yom Kippur. It's not a scary night. Yom Kippur is a Yom Shekulo Ahava. It's a day that's 100% full of love. But if somebody's in the middle of a fight with you and he told you something stupid, so then you kind of expect it because you're in the middle of fighting. When people fight, Lo Aleinu, they say stupid things. But if it's the night of your wedding and under the chuppah your future husband or wife tells you something stupid, then it hurts much worse. It's a wedding night. This is what you talk to me on your wedding night. What's going to be afterwards? Then Yom Kippur is a Yom Shekulo Ahava. It's our wedding night with God. If on Yom Kippur you walk into shul and you say something stupid, you don't mean what you say. It's all one big joke to you. And okay, let's count down the countdown to when the fast is over. 21 and a half hours left. 20 hours left. 19 and a half. Is the Chazan going to finish on time? Or is he going to finish Arvit, God forbid, 1 minute after Rabbeinu Tam? God forbid. When's it going to be? If that's where your head is, so then on the wedding night, on the day, Yom Shekulo Ahava, that doesn't work. That's not the way it is. Yom Kippur is Me'al Hazman. I'll give you an Eitzat Tova. You want an Eitzat Tova from a friend? I'll give you an Eitzat Tova. Come to Kippur and Shul, when you're davening, don't have a watch. You see, I already, from Rosh Chodesh Elul, took my watch off. No watch. There's no pressure of time. There's no when I have to finish. How long did it take? How long was the prayer? Was it too long? Was it too short? Yom Shekulo Ahava. The more the merrier. The longer the better. The Kirvat Elokim has no end. Even the Koach Hara, even the Yetzer Hara has no power in the world. It's a Yom Shekulo Ahava. It's all love. All love. That's what I learned from that wonderful person. But now listen to how this works out in practical implications. This is a very, very famous story. Maran Agrach Shmulevitz, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh L'Varcha, Zchuto Yagen Aleinu. On Erev Rosh Hashanah, not every year, but a few years, he went to two places. One place that everybody knows, for a weird reason, because Yaakov Shweki made a song out of it. That was the Kever Achel. So that part, you'll listen to the song and understand why. But then he went to another place, Yad Avshalom. Yad Avshalom is not a kever. It's not a holy place. It's just a symbolic thing. And it doesn't even symbolize anything so great. And why would Chaim Shmulevitz, who every second in his life was calculated, Erev Rosh Hashanah, when every minute is important, go to Yad Avshalom? And he wouldn't spend much time there. He went, he would stay in there, maybe a minute, and he would leave. So once one of his Talmidim got courage and he came to him and he said, Rabbi, Erev Rosh Hashanah, Yad Avshalom, that's what you have to go to? A whole year nobody goes there. Erev Rosh Hashanah, that's where you have to go to? Erev Rosh Hashanah, go to the Kotel. And he said, let me tell you why I come here. There's a Gemara in Masechet Sotah, Daf Yud Amud Bet. That the Gemara says in Masechet Sotah, when David HaMelech heard that his son Absalom, now let's put this into proportion. Absalom who tried to kill him. Absalom who chased his father out of his kingdom. Absalom who made his father so scared that he was going to get killed by him that he went running without his shoes even, it says in Chazal. David HaMelech didn't even have time to put on his shoes. He went running barefoot. This is what type of son he was. Chazal say when David HaMelech heard Absalom was killed, he didn't say Baruch Shepetaranu, thank God it's over, I got rid of this kid. He didn't say like some idiots today say, if your son comes home late, lock him out of the house. Rishaim, the level of rishut that you have to say such a thing. No, it's for educational purposes. What educational purposes? Hashem locks the door on Kippur for those people. He doesn't let them into the shul. He says, you lock your kid out of the house, I lock you out of my house. There's no difference. David HaMelech, who had a son that was a mored b'malchut, that went and fought kingdom, that al pi halacha was chayav mitah, that didn't have a disrespect to his father, that chased his father out. They wanted to kill his own father. When David HaMelech heard that Avshalom was killed, the Gemara says that he cried 8 times, B'ni Avshalom, my child Avshalom. Why 8 times? The Gemara says 7 times because he knew he was in the lowest place in Gehenom because of the great Rasha he was. So to get him out of the 7 Madurei Gehenom, one after another, and the 8th time after getting him out of Gehenom, to stick him into Olam Haba, to stick him into Gan Eden. That's what David HaMelech did for Avshalom, the Mored b'Malchut. For Avshalom, the son who fought him. Who gave him the worst time ever, who killed him almost, who did everything, that's what he did for him. And Reb Chaim used to stand by Yad Avshalom and tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he said, look at the mercy of a father on his son. A son that was the worst. A son that did the worst things in the world. Not only didn't he say, let him go to hell, he deserves it, what he did to me his whole life, thank God I'm done with him. He was an embarrassment to me and the family. He took him out of Gehenom. He didn't leave him neutral. He should have taken him out of Gehenom and left him neutral. We don't reward bad behavior. That's what some person who considers himself a big mechanech said once. We don't reward bad behavior. He stuck him into Gan Eden. Is that not rewarding bad behavior? He stuck him into Gan Eden because that's a father. Because a father wants to see his son in the best situation no matter what. That's a real father. And Rab Chaim said, Borei Olam, if David HaMelech, there was flesh and blood. Holy flesh and blood. But he was flesh and blood. Went and did that for his son. So it's true a whole year us as Am Yisrael chased you. And it's true a whole year we threw Hashem out of the house. And we threw Hashem out of the shul because we use phones in shul. And we threw Hashem out of every corner of our life. Today we don't even let God in the refrigerator with the type of shirim that we put inside. We threw him out of everywhere. But a father's a father. And now scream, Ribbon Shalom B'ni, my child, and pull us out of our situation. You know what Hashem answers to that? I'm doing it. And I'm doing it, not only am I doing it, I'm doing it knowing that it's not even going to last 24 hours. And the proof to that is on the eve of Kippur, we say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto L'Olam Va'ed out loud. Why? Because we reach the level of angels. And Motzei Kippur, after we finish Kippur, we say Avit Motzei Kippur, it's already the next day, right? It's after Kippur. We say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto L'Olam Va'ed quietly. It should be just the opposite. The eve of Kippur, you come into shul with a stomach that's sticking out from all you ate. Of course, L'Shem Shamayim, the mitzvah of eating Erev Kippur. So then, say Baruch Shem very quietly. What malach? There's nothing close to a malach. Motzei Kippur, after 24 hours of fasting and praying and aliyot and mitzvot and kabbalot and maasim tovim, say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto L'Olam Va'ed. Now you're an angel. And the Baalei Musar all say the same thing. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges a person based on where his mind is. Erev Kippur, your mind is in Ni'ilah, is in praying, is in doing tshuva. Motzei Kippur, your mind is in chocolate cake already. What's there to eat? I'm hungry. So Erev Kippur, you're a malach, because that's where your head is. That means Hashem, when He forgives us, and He says, Lech echol b'simcha et lachmecha, took into consideration that it may not even last until Havdalah of Motzei Kippur. And with all of that, He says, I forgive you, go eat your bread happily. Because that's a father. Because that's a father. Now when you have a father that loves you like that, and then you spit him in the face, that's a double disgrace. If a guy's a father who, other than bringing him to the world, never did anything else, of course, there's mitzvah, kibud aveim, you have to know when not, there's halachot in this, a lot of halachot in this, which today are very nogea. But at least the kid goes to a therapist one day, Shalom Neda, we should never know, and sits down over there, and tells the therapist, my father abused me, this one, that, the whole world is no good for kids. But if you have a father that accepts you unconditionally to such an extreme, and that's the father that you hurt, the offense is 20 million times worse. And that's Tshuvat Yom Kippurim. to realize who that father is. And to realize how much unconditional love HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for his children. And how long he waits. And how much patience he has for Am Yisrael. Maybe one day, one more Jew will come closer. Maybe one day, one more Jew will have a Hirut Tshuva, a Machshevet Tshuva. Maybe. Kama Gdola Kocha Shel Tshuva. How great is the Koach HaTshuva. Rabotai, listen to the amazing thing. We walk into the shul on Erev Kippur, and we say B'Yeshiva Shel Mala, Kol Nidrei, right? One of the holiest moments of the year. U'B'Yeshiva Shel Mata, Al Dat HaMakom, Al Dat HaKahal. Now, some of the words vary in different nuschot, but the concept is almost the same. We're bringing down Bedin Shel Mala. We say Bedin Shel Mala is agreeing with us. Bedin Shel Mata is agreeing with us. Hashem is agreeing with us. The Kahal is agreeing with us. Anu matirim litpalel. We agree to pray et avayanim. What's an avayan? A gangster, a criminal, the lowest of the low. That's what you say on the Eve of Kippur. Why would you do that? And right after you do that, a few minutes later, you say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto out loud like an angel. And the Sfarim HaKadoshim write, because one who loves every Jew unconditionally, even the Avariyan, even the one who's the criminal, even the one who's such a person that nobody wants to get close to because of who he is one who's on the level of a malach who could say Baruch Shem. But one without the other you can't do. But now let me tell you an amazing pshat that I heard from a great tzaddik, the Lelev Rebbe, Zechet Tzaddik V'Kadosh Livachas Chutei Yagen Aleinu, Moshe Chalelev's son, not the Lelev, who passed away on Yom Kippur, in Tafshin Ayin, 8 years ago, on Yom Kippur. Listen to this is unreal. Tzaddik Yisod Olav, there's no way to describe. He used to come sometimes to New York. He would stay in Far Rockaway a lot of times. He would hide out there. Oved Hashem in ways that there's no way to, I don't know how to describe. I have no glimpse of the dust under his feet even. He went to Shul Kippur. He said Kol Nidrei with the Kahal. He turned around to the Kahal and blessed them. He pretty much told them goodbye, went into his room, collapsed, and gave his neshama back to Borei Olam. He died in the holiest way, in the highest level that exists. And one year he spoke. And he spoke by Ni'ilah. Right before Ni'ilah. And let me tell you what his speech before Ni'ilah that year was. It wasn't the year he passed away, obviously. He was dead by Ni'ilah. Passed away by Ni'ilah. He went to Yonim. It was a few years before that. He said that there are many pshatim in the Sfarim HaKadoshim. Why on the night of Kippur we say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchut Olam out loud. And he said, Bivadai, of course, Ein Mikra Yotzeh Midei Pshuto. In Halacha it says, because we want to resemble the one on the level of Malachim. The Yetzirah doesn't have a power over us, and other reasons like that. But the great Rebbe said he has another reason that he wants to say. And listen to what a man that had real Ahavat Yisrael thought. He said, what did we say by Kol Nidrei? Anu matirim litpalel et avayanim. We agree to pray, meaning we're joining, we're bringing into our community even those who are not like us. And even those who are up to the worst things in the world. He said, if we're going to say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto that night quietly, these people in shul are going to feel uncomfortable because they're going to be scared that maybe we're whispering to each other. You see that guy, he's up to no good in life. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, nothing quiet. We don't want the Avariyan to feel uncomfortable. Say it out loud. What Ahavat Yisrael does a person have to be able to think of such a pshat? To be able to say such a thing in the holiest moment before Ni'ilah. What Ahavat Yisrael do you have to have? How much do you have to love every Jew to even get to such a pshat? To even come to such an idea? But that's the way the prayers go up. If you pray as an individual, I wish you a lot of luck. How it's going to work out, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, stock in that company, no offense, I don't want to buy. But if you pray as the Kahal, if you pray as the Ohev Yisrael, if you pray as the one who never will judge and never will talk bad about anybody, even when you have a right to, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, You're matir, I'm matir. Come right in. Bring it right inside. Vayomer Hashem, salachti kidvarecha. When Moshe Rabbeinu brought slicha for Am Yisrael, it's because he went up to Shamayim to fight for the Jews, not to say that they're bad, to say that they're good, that they're victims of the Yetzer Hara, to say that they're caught up. And on that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered him back. To that, he agrees. There's a very, very famous mashal that's brought down in the Sifrei Chasidut. And there were two neighbors who had chickens. They didn't want their chickens to escape. They did something which I think is tzar ba'alei chayim, not a good idea, and nobody should do it. But they used to tie their chickens' feet. They shouldn't escape. One day there was one chicken that was on the border of the two properties. So they started fighting who it belongs to. One guy said it's mine, the other guy said it's mine. Now, how do you know? There was no siman, no way to tell. They all look the same. So they went to the rabbi and they said, Rabbi, we want to do the right thing. We don't want to fight. How do we see who does this really belong to? And the rabbi told him it's very simple how you see. Untie the string that's tying the feet together and see to which field it goes. Because naturally, an animal will go back to its owner. Come the Sfarim HaKdoshim, in the Sifrei Chasidut Bifrat, but in many other Sfarim as well. And they all write that we go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we tell him, look at Yom Kippur. All year we have Yetzer Hara. So Hashem Yirachem, maybe we don't do the best things. But look at Kippur, when you take the Yetzer Hara away, when you cut the string off our feet, where does Am Yisrael go flocking to? A night before Kippur, a Thursday night in the U.S., where do they all go flocking to? To a Bet Midrash, late at night. What does that mean, God? That naturally we belong to you. Yeah, during the year there's a string. What should we do? But the second we have the string cut, Am Yisrael Chai V'Kayam, the nature of every Jew, Ba'asher Hu Sham, is to run right back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to run right back to Hashem Yitbarach. Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, Zchuto Yagen Aleinu, was standing in the Beit Midrash by Kol Nidrei, wearing a talit and tefillin. And everybody saw that he wasn't praying. He looked very scared and looked very sad and it was very out of character. And it looked like something was bothering him terribly. But of course, the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh was going to go over to him, Leil Kippur by Kol Nidrei, and say, Rabbi, what's bothering you? Baal Shem Tov, as he lived in other worlds. And he told the Kahal not to wait for him and they should pray. Let them go pray. And they were praying. Suddenly, immediately, that the same face that looked so nervous and uptight has a huge smile on it. And a much bigger smile than the regular Yom Kippur smile. They say it was a smile like he had Motzei Kippur, when he used to see in Shamayim that Hashem forgave the sins of Am Yisrael. At that point, the Talmidim, they couldn't anymore. They had to know what was going on. But on Kippur, they weren't going to ask their Rebbe, so they controlled themselves. They waited for Motzei Kippur. The Rebbe made Havdalah. Everybody went for a blessing. When the people started going to the Rebbe for blessings, they went to the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh and they said, Rebbe, you got to tell us what's going on. Leil Kippur and the Eva Kippur, by Kol Nidrei, we saw you. It didn't look good. It looked terrible. And then, Motzei Kippur, in the middle of the night of Kippur, we saw you b'simcha gdola v'atzuma, like Motzei Kippur. What happened then? And what happened afterwards? We want to know. Share with us what happened. So the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh said, I'll tell you what happened. So there was a young boy. We should never know. His mother passed away. But his nechama, his consolation was at least he had a father. His father raised him, did his best for him. But a couple of years later, his father got very, very sick and knew he was going to die any day. And at that point, he said, who's going to raise my child? He had no relatives. He had no choice. And he went to a neighbor that was a goy, that was a close friend of his. And he asked this neighbor, can you do me a favor and take responsibility and raise my child at least for the next few years? Till he's a little bit older and he could get along on his own. And the neighbor liked the kid and he liked the family. And he told the father, sure, I'll take care of him as if he's my own son. And now this guy was bringing up this kid. By World War II, there were a lot of kids like that. They were placed in all different monasteries and other places to hide them that they should be saved. My mother's father was one of those kids. That's how I know. He told me the story himself. This kid was raised like a goy. Not only like a goy, instead of going to synagogue, they took him to church. Instead of learning Torah Tzivah Lanu Moshe, he learned about J.C. Penney. In a shul, we don't say, even though he was a Jew once upon a time. Yemach Shemo v'zichro. But, yeah, he was Talmid Chacham, Chazal say. He learned the yeshiva. He was thrown out of the yeshiva too. That's what he learned. At a certain point, as he got older, he wanted to leave the house already and be more independent. So he went to his stepfather and he told him, Dad, listen, I'm a little older. I want to go out there to the world. I want to succeed on my own merit. I don't want to be dependent on you all the time. What do you think? He said, sure, it's a good idea. What do you mean? You grew up, man. You don't always have to be holding on to daddy or mommy. So he said, fine, so I have a plan. And he started explaining him, he's going to go to a certain university in the town, he's going to learn there, and after that he's going to get a profession, he's going to make money. And he really had a good plan. Everything made perfect sense. And the father tells him, the stepfather, the guy, I'm going to help you. Here's some money towards your tuition if you need anything else. And the day comes that he's leaving the house to go to a different city where he's going to live in order to begin his life in a different way. And right before he leaves, this stepfather, the guy, comes to him and tells him, now that you're leaving the house, I want to make sure you have your life story straight. He says, you're a Jew. Your father was a Jew. Your mother was a Jew. But they died young, and that's why I'm your stepfather. They didn't have money, so they didn't leave you any inheritance. But before your father died, he did leave you one thing. He said, I never wanted to give it to you over the years because I didn't see the point. It's some sort of religious article, and we were raising you, so we raised you based on our religion. But now that you're going on your own, I'm an honest man. I believe in freedom of choice. So I want to give you what he gave me. It's yours, it's not mine. Take this. And he hands him a bag. There was a bag of a talit. That inside of it had a talit and had it a machzor of Yom Kippur. This was the only thing the father left over for his kid. And the kid takes this thing, he doesn't even know what it is. He didn't see a talit in his life. He was raised in a church. He saw a cross. Machzor, he didn't know a word of Hebrew, he didn't know what the letters were. The whole thing looked weird, old also. He took it, but the only memory from his parents, he took it. He said he wants it. And he takes this with him and he goes to the city where he's going to go study in the university. And over there one day he decides that he wants to find out more about what it means to be a Jew and what this thing that they left him over is. And he finds a guy that he was able to tell on his external look that he's a Jewish guy. And he shows him this bag and he shows him the talit and he shows him the machzor. And he tells the person, what is this? Can you explain me? Could you help me? Could you tell me? I don't know much. I have a weird life story. Tell me something. And the guy looks at him and he says, you know, this is called a talit. It's a prayer shawl. People wear it in synagogue. Normally a whole year they only wear it at day. There's one day a year that they wear it at night as well. It's called Yom Kippur. And the book that's inside there is a prayer book in Hebrew. And you know what that is? That's the prayer book that you use on the same day, Yom Kippur. That's that volume. And he said, kid, I want to tell you something amazing. You know what tonight is? Yom Kippur. If you want, come to my house. I'll explain you a little bit about what Kippur is and how to behave in shul and whatever. And I'll take you with me and see what it is. You'll experience it for the first time in your life. This guy here, this college boy hears it, he gets all excited, he's going to learn about what his father's life was. And he says, sure, I want to do it, I'm in. And he goes. He comes to shul that night in Kippur, a warm shul, tzaddikim praying from their hearts, and he sees everybody with the same book that he got praying, wearing this talit that he's now wearing from his father, but has no idea why. But he doesn't know one letter of Hebrew, and he can't read the words. And the chazan is saying words and he doesn't understand what he's saying. It's in Hebrew. He doesn't understand anything. And he sees everybody shaking and crying and praying and all emotional and singing part. And he's clueless. He don't get it. And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh is saying over this story, and he said, I saw this all Beruach HaKodesh. And I saw in Shamayim HaKadosh Baruch Hu was very upset. He said, how could it be that there's a Jewish kid that doesn't know how to read a Siddur? Why didn't anybody take care of this orphan all the years and make sure that even though he was raised by a Goy, at least he should know he's a Jew? And that's why I was very scared. What's going to be with Am Yisrael this year on Yom Kippur? He said, but suddenly an interesting thing happened. The boy got frustrated. And out of frustration, he broke down into bitter tears. And he said, God, there must be something going on here. I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. But it looks like there's really something going on here. And I see that everybody here is holding the same book as me and reading it. But I don't know how to read it. And I was told today by this gentleman who exposed me to all this, that what they're reading is words that they're saying to you. And I don't know how to do that either. But one thing I can do, even though this book came from my father, and even though this book is the most cherished thing on a sentimental level that I have right now, because it's the only thing I have from my parents, if I can't read it, I'm giving it to you. And he closed his machzor, and he picked it up, and he said, God, come take it. And he said, and in that moment in Shamayim, the Satan was wiped out completely. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that together with the letters of that machzor, he's going to take the prayers of the whole Am Yisrael. And that's why already Leil Kippur, I was sameach b'simcha gdolah, because we didn't have to wait for Neilah to get the prayers answered. We got the prayers answered already on Leil Kippur. Maaseh from the holy, holy Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. Anu matirim litpalel et avaryanim. On Yom Kippur, the one who's getting our prayers up is the one who's clueless. Is the one who doesn't know better. Is the one who walked into shul for the first time, but felt the connection to shul. Imagine when he would have came into that shul, they would have said, you don't know how to read Hebrew anyway. What are you going to do here? Go. They would have not given him a seat. Sorry, we're out of seats. You're not our type. The whole prayers of the whole Am Yisrael gone. The power of acceptance, the power of love, and the power of caring about a Jewish child who doesn't know better. And let me tell you, the Chazon Ish writes that there's a concept called Tinokot Shenishbu. That we all know. Tinok Shenishba, the simple understanding in Halakha is if somebody was raised in some communist country where you weren't allowed to learn Torah or teach Torah, so you didn't know anything about Torah, he's a Tinok Shenishba, he's a captive, spiritually captive. Chazon Ish says there are Tinokot Shenishbu ben Kotlei Yeshiva. There are people that grew up in yeshivot, and they're also al pi halakha Tinokot Shenishbu. Because the Yetzer Hara was so strong, and their teachers were so lazy, were so reckless, were so ignorant or old-fashioned, and weren't willing to understand that sometimes we have to do things out of the box and not live inside a box, that they never had a chance to understand Judaism the right way. They never stood a chance to understand the love of Hashem. And they were Tinokot Shenishbu ben Kotlei Yeshiva. And on the night before Yom Kippur, I'll say, over the years of being in the trenches with hundreds and hundreds of boys that grew up in Olam HaTorah and Lo Aleinu went to the worst things in life. And many of those neshamot are not with us anymore because they're in Olam Haba due to terrible addictions that they had. I can tell you that they were Tinokot Shenishbu ben Kotlei Yeshiva. These were the biggest neshamot in the world, but they were captives to people that didn't want to understand them. They were captives to a system that said either be like me or get out of here. They were captives to people that judged you by the color of your shirt, or by the style of your pants, or by the length of your hair, instead of looking at a soul as a chelek eloka mimal, as part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There is no bad Jew. There is no rebellious teenager. It does not exist. And on Erev Kippur, we have to take upon ourselves to break that myth for once and for all. There are pained Jews, that their pain holds them captive, that they physically, emotionally, and spiritually can't function. And if we would care about their pain and do something to help ease their pain, even one drop, they would flourish in the greatest way in the world. And that's our responsibility. And some of those pain people are us ourselves. When a person does something for himself, even a materialistic thing, and takes care of himself, and does it l'shem shamayim, and he says, Ribono shel olam, if you put me in this world, that means you want me to take care of myself. He's easing Hashem's child's pain. He's giving himself a greater chance to success in life. And that's a mitzil nefesh achat miYisrael. If only Am Yisrael would close down all the kiruv organizations for once and for all, and instead make a beautiful kiruv organization, that each one of us should be mekarev ourselves, we wouldn't have any secular Jews anymore. And then we'd be able to get along because we don't have to compete. We don't have to put out stupid emails saying, look what I did this week, look what I'm doing next week. And then the whole Hashem Shammai went to the garbage. We won't have to fight over which rabbi is going to be in which synagogue, and which one's going to have which power, and which Congress is going to control what. We won't have to do all this nonsense. Because we'll be busy with real kiruv. We're taking care of our neshama, being a mikarev, our neshama to Borei Olam. Anu matirim. And now, boys and girls, I want to tell you even deeper. When you go into Kol Nidrei and we say, Anu matirim litpalel et ha'avaryanim. Even if you walked into shul feeling like an avaryan, like one who did all the averot in the world. Walk into shul saying, Hashem says, Anu matirim. I want you here. It doesn't make a difference what you did last year. Bygones are bygones. It's over. It's done. You're here. That's what counts. And Hashem doesn't judge you based on the last year at that point. He judges you b'asher hu sham, based on where you are at that moment. And at that moment you're in shul. At that moment you're praying. At that moment there's a machzor in front of you, even if you don't know how to read it, even if you don't understand what it says. In Shamayim at that moment Hashem says you're a tzaddik gamur. You're 100% a perfect person to me. This is the power of Kocha Shel Yom Kippur. And maybe that's what the Gemara means when it says Itzumo Shel Yom Mechaper. Just the actual etzem of the day has enough to bring a great, great kapara. I want to end off with one more story. The holy Rabbi Rabbi Yitzchak Mibaditchev and Tzara Sasha, Zchuto Yagen Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Amen. The Chachamim HaKadoshim say just by saying his name, it brings down big, big mercy from Shamayim to the world. Just by saying the name. That alone. There are many stories in the Sfarim HaKadoshim about people who used his name and had big, big yeshuot. There are countless stories about Rabbi Yitzchak. What isn't there about Rabbi Yitzchak? Sanegoram Shel Yisrael. He never found a bad thing to say about a Jew. We should go in those footsteps. It's a good idea. Not only didn't he find a bad thing, he twisted and turned everything into a good thing. He flipped things over, inside out, upside down, just to make everything look right. He had a minhag that on Erev Yom Kippurim, all his students would come to him, and not only his students, people from everywhere, and they would give him a paper with the names to pray for, tzaddik, to give a blessing. Erev Kippur is a big thing. And of course, they would stick in a few dollars, pidyon nefesh, for the rabbi. One year he told his gabbai that this year there's going to be a fixed price. Nobody can give whatever they want. I'm going to say how much everybody has to give. He said each person that wants to stick in a paper has to bring along with it for tzedakah a golden coin. Nobody, that's a fortune of money. Nobody understood. The rabbi never takes money, doesn't do it for himself. That, he would say they have to. If not, don't come in. Didn't make any sense. But people wanted a blessing from him, so they didn't think. One after another, they got a hold of the money, they borrowed, they did what they had to do, and they came in, and all day long people were coming in. It came the afternoon, and there was a certain cutoff time that then he wasn't coming anymore. There was one person left that was going to be allowed in, and after that they weren't letting in anybody else. That person was a woman who was a widow, who had an only child. She was extremely poor. She walked into Rabbi Yitzchak Mibaditchev, and she handed him a piece of paper with her name and her son's name. And she handed him one golden coin. And even that golden coin she didn't have. She borrowed and did. She went to very big extremes to get a hold of it. And Rabbi Yitzchak gave her a very, very warm blessing. But he didn't mention a word about the kid. And she said, Rebbe, my son, my only son, he's on the paper. Why did you say his name? He said, one coin, one name. He said, but I don't have money. I'm poor. One coin, one name. He said, but if you want, I'll break the rule for you. I give you until mincha time to go get another coin and come back. And even though nobody else is coming in today, the Gabbai will know that if you come back with another coin, bring it to me. She was heartbroken. Where's she getting another coin from? She left. She went home. She started looking for things. Maybe she could pawn. Maybe she could sell. Maybe she could borrow. She went begging Jews to help her. Nobody, nothing doing. Nobody's able to give her a thing. And she comes back to the Rebbe before Mincha, and she says, I couldn't come up with the money. And the Rebbe says, one coin, one name, I'm sorry. And then the Rebbe says, you know what, I'm going to break the rule again. You have all the way until Kol Nidrei. Till candlelighting. You come back with another coin, you get a blessing for your son. And again she goes and runs and comes and goes and turns the world inside out and upside down. Nothing. She can't get money. And it's right before candlelighting, and she walks into Rabbi Yitzchak Mibaditchev, and she says, Rabbi, I couldn't come up with it. What do I do? I need a blessing for my son before Kippur. And Rabbi Yitzchak tells her, I'm sorry, I told you the rule. One coin is one name. And at that point she turns to the Rebbe and she says, do you still have the paper I gave you? He said, yeah. She said, give it back to me. She took the paper back. She ripped the paper up. She grabbed a new clean piece of paper from the table. She took out a pen and she wrote one name, her son's name. And she said, one coin, one name. Forget about the blessing you gave me. That's canceled. Give a blessing for my son. I believe Yitzchak gave her and her son very, very warm blessings and sent her on her way. I believe Yitzchak walked into shul and told the Chazan, don't start Kol Nidrei, I want to speak. And he never spoke before Kol Nidrei. And he got up and these were his words. He said, Ribonot Shel Olam, here's a widow who's poor, who has nothing in the world, and had to make a choice for what she believed is going to make the difference in her life in the coming year. A choice between her and her son. And she told me, Rabbi, rip up the piece of paper. Give me back that paper, rip it up. Here's a new paper. One name, my son. So Ribono Shel Olam, the Satan's going to come to you now with a long, big pack of papers. That's going to have a lot of names on it. And it's going to say a lot of sins that Am Yisrael did. Whether it's right or not, I don't know. But you're going to have a choice to make, God. Is it the papers? Or is it your son, Am Yisrael? And if this lady was able to rip up the paper of her life for the sake of her son, God, you're able to rip up those papers that the Yetzer Hara is going to bring you and save Am Yisrael. And with that, he went into Kol Nidrei. That's Borei Olam. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does on the night of Yom Kippur. Now you understand why you should show up? Now you understand why you should show up without a watch? Now you understand why time doesn't make a difference, how long or short it is or isn't? Just the opposite, the longer the better. Yom Shekulo Hava, you don't want to lose 1 second. Now you understand what a great gift we have. Ashreinu matov chelkeinu manaim go'aleinu. But now we have to understand the last thing, and this is my goodbye message before Kippur. With a lot of love, mitoch hava, and I'm saying it to myself, not to you. This is the Father that loves us so much. But we spat in his face this year. Over what? Over averot that don't even have a Yetzer Hara in them. Guy did a big sin, no mela. Yetzer Hara. But most of our averot that we do, there's not even a Yetzer Hara there. There's nothing to it. I was Shana in the morning before Tkiyat Shafar. Some of the Kahal wasn't here, so I'm going to repeat it again. I spoke to the boys openly. I'm telling you again. Shaving with a razor is worse than eating a cheeseburger on Kippur, and that's not an exaggeration. There is no heter whatsoever. And Baruch Hashem, today the style is to have beards. So at least a lot of guys that otherwise maybe would have shaved with a razor don't. But they still shave here and other places with a razor. A shape up. To look fresh. It's an Isur Doraita. You're not allowed to do it al pi halacha. There is no heter. I'm pleading with you. I'm begging you. It's Erev Kippur. That's an averah that there's no yetzer hara to tell your stupid barber, stay away. I'm a Jew and I'm proud to look like a Jew. Leave me alone. There's no yetzer hara for that. There's no yetzer hara that comes to you and says, you have to shave with a razor over here. It doesn't exist such a yetzer hara. You come to Hashem that loves you so much and say, even something that there's no yetzer hara for, I don't care about. What's left? The basics. There is no yetzer hara in these things. We were blessed to live in a generation that there's so much Torah, that there's so many mitzvot, that there's so much chesed, that there's so much kosher, everything. No, I only like this type of coffee. Therefore, I'm going to go eat Chalav Yishmael with the Arabs. I'm going to be a terrorist. Yeah. I like that coffee. Besides the fact today we found out that all those coffees aren't even kosher in the first place. The flavoring that they put in one after another is not kosher in all of them. It has whatever, I don't want to say anything out of Kippur about Echsherim, but has this and these letters on it. That's what one guy told me this week before I left Europe and Israel. You know what I did? I said, give me a loan. He said, how much? I said, 100K. He said, okay, but I need collateral. I said, you got it. He said, what do you mean? You're leaving. How am I going to get collateral? I said, I'm giving you collateral this second. So he said, what collateral? I said, I have it in my pocket. You have collateral. It's worth, at least in your appraisal, way more than the 100K that I'm asking you for a loan. So he said, okay, no problem. So then I'll give you a check. I pulled out of my pocket. I prepared in advance. I don't have things like this, Baruch Hashem. A Snickers bar. And I cut off a few letters there. And I handed it to him and I said, this is your collateral. And he looks at me and he says, what's this? This is garbage. I said, your soul you trusted with those letters the past year. Your neshama that was a chedek eloka mimal, part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you trusted with some heter that doesn't exist on those letters. And $100,000 you won't trust on those letters? So that means your soul to you is not even worth $100,000. The fact that you're a Jew is not even worth 100K to you. And I said, what do you want from Hashem? You don't value what you got. Why do you want Him to value what you got more than you? Why do you want Him to care about you more than you care about yourself? Somebody doesn't want to help himself. Chazal say you don't have to help him. Azov ta'azov imo. You only have to help one who wants to help himself. Girls, I don't talk because I'm against this. I think men are not supposed to be speaking about this. Women should be speaking about this, about sniut subjects. So I'm just going to say beremez, in a hint, and everybody should understand whatever they're holding in life. Sniut is from the Chamurot Shabbat Torah. It's not a joke. It's serious stuff. And if somebody Bar Minan had a problem, they would right away say, I'll do sniut. Why do you have to wait for a problem? For what? Hashem loves us. He doesn't want us to have problems. He wants us to have a good life. We should be healthy and happy and rich and successful and have beautiful families and everything should be great. He doesn't want we should have problems. Why do we have to wait for a problem to look for a solution? Give me a mitzvah that I could take upon myself. You got to walk into Kippur with a new Kabbalah and Tzniut, something extra that you're going to do, and each one on his level, whatever they're up to. And I say what I say every time over week after week again. If you say, I'm not on that level yet, the next time you go to your boss for a raise, or you try to open a new business, Hashem makes sure it doesn't work out for you. Because He's going to say you're not on the level yet. Doesn't mean I'm not on the level yet. With money, you're on the level for everything. You buy lottery tickets, you want to be a billionaire, a millionaire. Suddenly with mitzvot, I'm not on that level yet. That's the greatest hypocrisy and stupidity that exists. And stupid people we're not. And hypocrites, I hope we're not either. We have to take upon ourselves, we have to come into Kippur with a new Kabbalah. It doesn't have to be extreme, but something that we could live by, something that we could stand by, that we actually think stands a chance to last more than Motzei Kippur Aviv, at least a few more days after. Something to hold on to. And most of all, we have to take upon ourselves large commitments, like I spoke at Rosh Hashanah, the Chesed and Ahavat Yisrael. Because if we're going to be there for each other, and we'll continue Chesed Ayad Zchut this week, to be in Eretz Yisrael, and give out large fortunes of money, because recorded, I'm not even going to say numbers. Large amounts of money. that didn't come from wealthy people. That was the beauty of it. It came from people who are regular laborers, who make average or maybe average plus salaries, and many of them under average salaries. I had a kid who was 17 years old who came to me and said, I got permission from my parents to give away X percentage of the money that I got by my bar mitzvah. Could you distribute it to charity? A young kid. A kid like that alone is enough to make the whole Am Yisrael go to Gan Eden. Unreal. To families that don't have what to eat. To Kollel students that didn't get new clothes in years. I went to one Kollel student in a shul. I saw his hat. His hat I wouldn't even throw out, because I wouldn't want to touch it. I'd be scared of germs. That's how bad it looked. I gave him money and I said, go buy yourself a new hat. The guy started crying. He told me 24 years I didn't get a new hat. Any of you are wearing clothing from 24 years ago that you wore every single day, 7 days a week? This is the situation. We have to make a commitment that things like this will never happen. That we're going to do whatever's in our power to love every Jew, to take care of every Jew, and to make sure every Jew always has whatever he needs. And if we make that commitment, Hashem will give us such a big commitment on Yom Kippur. When you work for God, He gives you a blank check. If you really mean it and you really believe it. The school Shanim Rabot, Neimot V'Torot.